Hi, my name's David Devanny, and I was the Poet in Residence at Cyprus Well in the summer of 2018. I'm going to take you on a bit of a tour of the house today, and read you a couple of poems that I wrote as inspired by that residency. And the resident immediately before me, was the artist and illustrator Karen House, who made lots of painted images and kind of painted objects, some of which were around the house when I was there, so you're going to get to see some of those as well. So we just walked down Angel Hill now. That's the kind of steep hill which leads out of Launceston town centre towards Cyprus Well, and you'll recognise it perhaps from one of Charles Causley's famous poems. And we've crossed over that sharp hairpin bend now, and we're coming down to Ridgegrove Hill. What you'll notice is that even though it's only a 3-minute walk from the centre of the town to Cyprus Well, you're very quickly into green space and lots of wildlife, and the kind of hills and fields, and the River Kenzie at the bottom of this lane, rolling out into down to the border with Devon. So you're into a kind of peaceful space, and it's a very quiet house, really easy to get a lot of work done there, and no distractions. So Charles Causley lived here for most of his life, really, from kind of late childhood through to the end of his life. And this is the house here with the blue plaque. Now immediately as you come into this rather quaint and old-fashioned front room. I think it's probably one of the most intact rooms, and it has a wonderful old-fashioned carpet which I could look at forever. And it's full of lots of objects, some of which were possessions of Charles or his mother, and some of which are art and artefacts which have been made since, perhaps on residencies in response to some of those works. This is Launceston Castle, which is very prominent in the town still to this day. And we're going to read a short poem inspired a bit by Launceston Castle, but also the north coast and the sea caves around there, and it draws an analogy between the two, really. What is this mouth feel? What is this backhander? Why is there awful transfer? Why is this mid-heaven? Whose ankle is the sheet wrapped around? Who is the genderless foreigner? Is it a bad luck Johnny? Is it the tonsil man who hangs above the abyss of her yawning gullet? I gave you the territory. I see your solid white face. You swear me ungodly gales all afternoon. So also on the ground floor of the house, there's a modern kitchen and bathroom, which I'm very grateful for. It's been updated. But the other room that's been kept largely intact and left unchanged is Charles's office and study, and his writing room, really. It's at the back of the house, and it's quiet, and it faces onto the garden. And it's really an inspiring place to be, to sit in here, to kind of sit in his chair and among his writing implements and his typewriters. And it's got his music and his books with his notes in. And it was quite strange for me as well, because, one of the projects that I was doing involved audio recordings of his work. So, I'd be listening to a couple of his poems in the room that he wrote them while sat at his desk or in his chair. And of course as well, it's just strange sort of following in someone's footsteps as well as sitting in their chair. And I discovered part of my daily routine, I'd get up at 7, write for most of the day until about 5 o'clock, and then I'd walk across up Ridgegrove Hill, cuts across the road around the back of the St Mary Magdalene Church, and pop into the Bell pub for an hour and a pint and a bit of social contact before bobbing back for dinner. And I discovered that when I was reading Charles's diaries. That's when he was a young man, he used to take that shortcut over to the Bell, and that was his favourite poem choice as well. So this poem draws on some of the imagery in the room and some of the texts and the books and Cornish saints, as well as the local landscape. Alva father forms powerful water bag hole, sugar saints pour spring. Sheep cross leeward flow for a hawker refraction, parish ion cloud. Underworld honey, mass river serve giants porridge, southward to sea mouth baptisms. Sheep in the quarry, crows' caws echo off the cliff. Industrial beat. The other thing that we've got in this room is Charles's piano. Charles was a keen pianist, and he played the piano at the primary school where he taught. And I really enjoyed kind of on an evening after I'd finished my day's work, just mucking about a bit on this piano, making some noise, and using his sheet music and relaxing. It's always nice to make a bit of sound, and music and poetry, of course, are strongly related. As you go back into the hall past the clock, you go up a staircase to two bedrooms. There's a what's kind of commonly known as Charles's mother's bedroom, the bigger one, and a smaller room at the back, also very quiet, where Charles slept for much of his life. And then I presume he moved into the bigger room in his latter life. So this, I think, is one of Charles's early childhood homes by St Thomas Water. And I think we're going out to the garden now. There's a lovely garden. The Trust have done a lot of work to make it really nice and habitable. And I don't think I've told anyone this, but I had almost daily barbecues out here. And you look across to the housing estate across the back, and I thought, rather romantically, I bet in Charles's time it was just fields there, but I looked at the old map from the start of the 20th century, and it was full of factories and tanneries, so it always actually had been quite industrial. And in some ways it's quieter now than it was. And this bungalow at the back, before that was there, it was a little farm, and the farmer was known for shooting rabbits, so this is one possible inspiration for the Jolly Hunter. So I'm going to read a poem now which responds to that poem, The Jolly Hunter, a bit. A bright internet hair using two small skewers transmits regional oil mushroom miles. Chicken flavours extended by broccoli antennae, hill skim cavity rabbits. Meanwhile, the drizzle aspect forms lattices and crystals to a Bodmin sorbet. The moor broadcast rushes into the valleys, beaming the news. Rowan season and ripe granites toss gliding firs, shoots micro diverse slow rose, ash. Well, thanks for coming with me on that whistle-stop tour. It was really nice for me as well to peek inside again, and it's brought back some nice memories. If you're interested in my work and you'd like to know a little bit more, you can look at my website at coastpoems.co.uk. Follow me on Twitter at David Devanny. Big thanks to Karen House for her lovely artwork throughout the house, dotted around, and for sharing some of it for this video. And massive thanks to Richard Sharland for popping in during lockdown to film this for us. And really big thanks to the Causley Trust once again for hosting me at the festival. Bye bye.